So it finally happened, we got our first big disappointment for the year. Frank Turner, for those who don't know, is quite a big name in the British music scene. He's made a name for himself with these folk punk albums which are so patriotic in Britain and British culture. His songs range from being these really slow, mellow, depressing acoustic ballads to being these fast, heavy punk songs. He's had quite a huge following, with his last 3 albums being really successful over here in the UK. Now we got his 7th album, Be More Kind, which is a very different album to the previous 6. This album in many ways is much more straightforward and goes more into indie rock, indie pop sort of territories. All the punk edge of his previous albums is pretty much completely gone, except for a couple of exceptions on the album. And although usually I just try and go in with an open mind even despite the huge style change, with this album I feel like the style change really doesn't work in its favour. What attracted people to Frank's previous albums are his incredible energy, his fantastic songwriting, and just really well produced and interesting instrumentation. However, with this album it feels like a lot of that is just kind of gone, and it feels like he's just trying to make almost, I guess, generic pop music. Although there are some really good songs on the album, for the most part it just kind of plods along without really going anywhere interesting or unique or different. He really plays things very safe with this album, which doesn't work in its favour at all. There are definitely moments where there's a lot of the characteristics of his songwriting that we've grown to love, especially on songs like Get It Right, the final track on the album, and 21st Century Survival Blues. The album sees Frank Turner go into a much more political direction than previously before, and while that could have been interesting because the political world we're in at the moment is pretty fucked, he just, I guess, doesn't really do anything interesting or unique with it. There are so many moments where I wish he delved more into the subject that he was talking about. For example, on the song Make America Great Again, he never really delves into what it is that makes America so bad at the moment. That song is clearly about Trump, but he never really goes like hard at it or anything. These are important subjects that really need to be tackled head on and aggressively, and he just doesn't really do that with this album. He is a lot more relaxed on the album, but the album doesn't have the emotion that some of his more slow acoustic ballads in the past did have. Although there are only a couple of moments where I was listening to the album I thought this song is flat out bad, for the most part the album is just really average and uninteresting. It does have standout moments though. I really like the opening track. The song 1933 is an incredible punk song which is just exactly what the rest of the album should have been. It feels like a Frank Turner song. It's got really great instrumentation, some incredible lyrics. Easily one of my favourite songs from the year so far. I really love the title track, Be More Kind. Although lyrically it's nothing really special or interesting, I think the song is just this really beautiful song. It's got these incredibly catchy melodies, just beautiful instrumentation. I just love that song. And the song Blackout is incredibly catchy as well. It has a political edge to it which is kind of on the nose. It's kind of not one that you'd pick up on straight away unless you really pay close attention to the lyrics, which I think actually works really well. Not to mention the instrumentation on that song is really good. It's definitely much more of an indie rock sort of song than his previous style, but it works really well. But for the most part the album is hit with these really bland, uninteresting songs that don't really go anywhere and don't really leave much of an impression on you at the end. And it's a shame that I have to say this about the album because I love his previous albums. And I recently got the chance to see him live in concert on his tour for this album and he was just incredible. But the album is just so uninteresting and bland. I just there's not really much else I can say about it. It's that really awful kind of album that just doesn't really give you a lot to talk about because it's just so boring and uninteresting. So yeah, it pains me to have to say this because I want to really love this album, but I'm gonna have to give the new Frank Turner album, Be More Kind, a 5 out of 10. Hi guys, I hope you enjoyed this review of the new Frank Turner album. I've got a couple of videos coming out over the next couple of weeks which I'm really excited for. One that will hopefully either be up today or tomorrow, depending when this video comes up and when I get it finished, of course. So yeah, I've got a few little announcements coming up soon about the future of some of the videos I'm going to be doing on this channel, so stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you next time.